You might think this Chatham 060 has no backstory beyond being rebuilt around the turn of the century. But then railway preservation does some funny things. The South Eastern Railway Company employed James Stirling, Patrick Stirling's younger brother, as their locomotive superintendent. Stirling, who used to work for the Glasgow and South Western, introduced the O class in 1878, with 122 being built by 1899. These engines had no domes to speak of, and they didn't receive any until the early 1900s, when 59 were rebuilt at Ashford Works, which reclassified them as O1s. Being a Victorian 060, this class was built for goods trains, and were later replaced by the Wainwright C class. The differences between the Cs and the O1s being the smaller boilers, as fitted to the H class, the smaller cabs, and smaller tenders with the springs on the outside. Most of the O1s were withdrawn by 1939, with survivors living out their later years working branches around Kent. When number 65 was withdrawn in 1963, she was rescued by a Mr. E. Lewis Evans, who intended to keep her at a steam centre at Ashford Works. But when this went under, and the bailiffs were closing in, the engine was quickly dismantled and scattered between Kent and Lincolnshire. She would stay in this condition for more than 20 years, miserable, cold, and forgotten about. But of course, the story has a happy ending, when in 1996, all the parts were brought to the Bluebell Railway, who immediately set about restoring the engine to her former glory. And after 3 years of hard and fast work, the engine ran again just in time for the centenary of the South Eastern and Chatham Railway. A fitting conclusion to a fascinating story.